All right. Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. All right. So let's chant the 16th verse. Na sato vidyate bhavaha na bhavo vidyate satah ubhayorapi drashtantah anyo Tatva Darshi. All right. We have gone through the word meaning. We have gone through some explanations of it. And now let's just recap a little bit and we'll continue. So what I am bringing it all from the Shankar Bhashya. So we understand that there is Sat aspect, It says the Sat is never absent. That means Sat, that is one thing that will never be missing. And Asat is what is Anitya, which is constantly, it doesn't have a substratum. And the example that we saw was of the pot and clay, right? So the clayness has become pot. The pot has no existence except for the clay. That part is clear. And we'll go through many other examples too. So that's not the only one. And please, if we don't understand it, we'll go through some more, examples. So the one who sees that is what is the one who sees what? Who sees the Sat and Asat, both. The one who is seeing both. When we say he's seeing both means, he's seeing that and he's experiencing that there is Sat aspect and there is Asat aspect. So his focus is, right now our focus is on the Asat aspect. We are only focused on the changing things. We are only focused on the Nam Rupa. See, that's our challenge. Okay. So let's go through that. So what is Sat? Sat is the unchanging eternal isness. And isness is not a quality of a thing. Isness is what makes it appear for us. What is the one which is giving us a certain experience. Now understand what is Anitya. Anitya is that which is constantly changing. So I'll go through one example also just to clarify, but right now let's see what is changing so that you are clear about it. Everything in this samsara is changing, right? Is there anything that is not changing? We'll go through that. Anitya. So Anitya is the nature of Prakriti. It is the nature of samsara. It is constantly undergoing change. There's nothing that stays forever. So every object is going through. When I say object, I mean every object, emotion, experience, anything you want to replace object with. Then all our senses are anitya. So you may say, okay, my senses are nitya because I am experiencing and I can see the change but my senses are still there. No, our senses are also constantly going through change. Our mind is also going through change. That is also anitya, because mind is also experienced. How do we experience mind? When we experience a thought, it has a beginning, it has an end. So basically we are experiencing mind. That means mind is anitya. Anything that we can experience is anitya. Okay. Another thing that is constantly changing is our ahankar. We think that, oh, my ahankar is permanent, it is going to go through body after body after body. But no, our ahankar is also as illusory. It is also anitya. So the one that is experiencing and that which is experienced, both are anitya. That part I just wanted to make sure that we understand. This is our basic of Advaita Vedanta. So anything uh, that is experiencing and that which is experienced, both are going through change. So that is anitya. So what is giving reality to all these things? I am giving reality to that. That I-ness is the only thing that is Sat. First I said isness is Sat, and then I said I-ness is Sat. Just it will become more clear in the future chapters, but just understand that part first. And Bhagwan Shankaracharya says, okay, let me explain that in a simpler way. So he says, how do I know that? He says, we have two buddhis, Sat Buddhi and Asat Buddhi. We touched on that last time, but I just want to grill it down. So Sat Buddhi is that which is also seen along with the Asat. So they are happening at the same time in the same locus. So we think that, okay, this is, let me explain it. So let's take for an example of gold and bangle. The goldness is Sat, which is experienced in the bangle. But right now our focus is on the shape and size of the bangle instead of the goldness of the bangle. The goldness is not going to change. I can melt it tomorrow and make chain out of it, right? So that bangle is no more there. It has become the chain, but the goldness has continued. The goldness was there in the bangle. The goldness is there um, in the chain. So that part is something important. So when it is having the same locus, so we can ask this question. A Purva Paksh person can ask a question. Okay, you are saying that isness is existence, right? And you are saying that non-existence and existence are simultaneously happening. That is not possible. You cannot have existence and non-existence appearing at the same time. Correct? Is that question clear? That's the Purva Paksha person asking this question. How can this happen? Because you are saying you have a Sat Buddhi and a Sat Buddhi. Asat Buddhi is non-existent. Sat Buddhi is the existence. We said that, earlier also, that existence is Sat. Okay. So when Sat and Asat are simultaneously happening, he says that is not possible. This is, yes, that is not possible. That cannot happen because both Sat and Asat cannot happen at the simultaneous level. But what happens is that the Sat itself is appearing as Asat. Let me explain that the gold itself is appearing as the bangle. The gold itself is appearing as the chain. Gold itself is appearing as something else. So our mind, if it is focused on the Sat aspect of it, then all the changes are happening. We are seeing only the Sat. So Asat really doesn't exist. But we are seeing it because it is adhyas. I have introduced another word, adhyas. So Tulsidas ji said, when asked him, where do you see Bhagwan? He says, Siya Ram mein sab jag jani, karo pranam jor jug bani. So I am not seeing flower and pot or person A and person B. I am only seeing Bhagwan everywhere. So his focus was on the Sat Buddhi only. See, that is why for the Hindus, people say, Are yaar, ye log to, they worship mountains and they worship stones and they worship trees. We say, yeah, we worship. We worship not the object. We have the Sat Buddhi. So we are actually worshipping Bhagwan through this mountain and through trees and through whatever else, because we are only seeing the Sat aspect of that. We are the changing thing. See, everything that we see is nothing but Ishwar only. See, ईश्वर की क्या definition है? The jagat, what is appearing, is not Ishwar, but the one because of which all these appearances are possible, not just the outside, but also inside. So that is why we have no problem in worshipping tree, because we see Bhagwan in everything. You understand the Sat Buddhi and Asat Buddhi
I have a
aspect?
question, Rajiv.
Sure.
So I'm not clear on that. So several questions actually, but so in terms of so one way I make sense of it is that in the sense of Nitya Natya, we start when we begin such Mananam, we see it as a contrast. Ki Nitya is different than Anitya. In this way, the way you are explaining it, and the Bhagavad Gita is explaining it, in a way they can be said to be inseparable, meaning nothing can appear without the Brahma Tattva or the Tattva, the basic thing. So instead of seeing ki they're separate, we bring them together, something like they say separating the wheat from the chaff. It's not like that. Everything is only Tattva. There's nothing other than Tattva, right?
Tattva, but we are only focused on the changing. We are only focused on the Nama Rupa. We are not focused on the the Sat aspect of it.
Yes,
Sat
yes.
is there
So the
in the book. Has this book is Sat. The computer is Sat. The Sat is not an object. Satness is the one because of which all these appearances are possible. My
you're so
mind and
right.
senses are also anitya.
You're right. Actually, that I was going to bring in the Agyan aspect. Ki with Nama Rupa, we give a name to what is actually Asat, which is changing all the time, but we make it persist. And therefore, we even call it truth. Even our truth is like a name and an object, like you were saying, ki Asat ka bhi ek naam roop ho jata hai, or Sat ka bhi ek naam roop ho jata hai. But actually, it is the ever fresh, ever change. Matlab, it's like it doesn't have a solid fixed nature. It can be anything. It's everything and nothing. So that's one thing. But buddhi ke hisab se, so I got the inseparability part ki Sat, Asat couldn't even appear for the sake of saying we say they're separate, the changing aspect, but actually there's only one isness or only one ground from which everything arises. Lekin buddhi ke hisab se, I thought buddhi was like at least
Intellect.
one. See, buddhi can be deluded, and sat buddhi meaning कि isn't buddhi always discernment? मतलब shouldn't we say कि जब हम नित्य और अनित्य का separation जान जाते हैं, meaning goes beyond either sat or asat, that kind of buddhi, that kind of gyan.
Let me give another example. Sometimes it is easier to understand things by example. Usually I used to give example of movie and screen, but let's take television. So we see a television, right, in front of us. It's there. It's not changing. It's just fixed on the wall. Now, through remote, now we start seeing the show, some show, we are watching CNN or we are watching Netflix or whatever. So now there is a changing thing happening continuously. It looks very real though, it is not that it is not real. But whatever is appearing, there are two things that is happening at the same time. One is the television screen is there, which is unchanging, and there is a changing app program that we are watching, right? So if the mind is focused on the change, then we don't see the television screen anymore. Our focus is just the movie. So if suppose a kid is sitting in front of it and he is watching TV day in and day out, and then time passes, so to him that is reality. Whatever is happening on TV is real. But really, there was some program where we turned on the TV to experience that whole thing. So think about this Jagat as nothing but a movie playing on Ishwar. The Ishwarness, the screen is present in every pixel of that movie. Which part of the movie doesn't have the TV screen on it?
Right. No, that's definitely clear, like a mirror and reflection, like many analogies are used. So that you explained the movie projector and the reel and the screen example before also. So that clear. But why did you use the word Ishwar instead of Brahma? Uh,
Okay, I'll tell you why I didn't use that. Because Ishwar is also Brahman. Okay, Brahman cannot be characterized in any form. Even if I have to use TV as an example of Nitya Vastu, that is only Ishwar. The reason I said, because Ishwaratva is when we are able to experience of something of Brahman. It is on both sides. Both sides means the experiencer and experienced. The Ishwar is used when, okay, what is Ishwar? Ishwar is when Brahman decides to be the creator.
so
Brahman doesn't have to be a creator, but Brahman doesn't have to be anything. But Brahman alone is creator, and that's where we get the experience of Jagat. We are part of Jagat too. So the experiencing faculty is also Jagat.
mhm.
You
Yes,
know, you understand that?
yes, yes, yes.
Faculty through which we experience the the changes is also part of this Jagat only. So it is not separate from Jagat. So that is why it is also anitya. You're, this is very, very important. I want to spend time on it because this is the key part of this whole thing. If we
No,
understand this, we
it's
can.
easier. It's easier to see it in terms of other people. For instance, you are part of my Jagat, so I can easily see that your mind, your body, everything is part of Jagat. And Brahman plus Maya seems to be Ishwar, right? Matlab as the manifest aspect, meaning it appears to us. So, but what you're saying is ki our own ability to experience our senses, Indriya, and everything, that is also part of Jagat. Uh,
Maya at all for a simple reason. Let's because Krishna ji has Bhagwan Krishna has not brought Maya yet. I don't
okay,
want to bring Maya yet. He
okay,
didn't bring Brahman yet. I don't want to bring Brahman yet. You know.
okay.
So let's just stick to the terminology which is here. When Brahman comes, we will talk Brahman. But
So,
you are right. You are right. But see what happens is because you have so much knowledge, so you always trying to put okay, this must be this must. But let's keep it very simple. So there is Sat and there is Asat. The one that sees the both Sat and Asat is Tatva Darshi. So let's think about, when we go and watch a movie, what happens? Our mind is totally focused on the changing screen, right? Changing action that is happening on the screen. We are not focusing on the white screen that is actually upholding that movie. right? But the movie is not possible without the screen. Same way the movie is not possible without the TV screen. Same thing. So every pixel of that thing is nothing but something that is happening, light appearing on that screen. And because it is so continuous, we forget that we are in front of a TV. So we forget there is Sat aspect, and we start to see the world of play. That's all. Right now, there is another big example. So let's go through that also, just
But
because since we
Raju,
are
but
talking
just
about
one
it.
thing, just one
Mhm,
thing. You just said the
mhm.
Tattva Darshi sees both Asat and Sat, right? But wouldn't we say that Tattva Darshi is what makes Asat and Sat possible, meaning is beyond either the Tattva Darshi?
You can say that. You can definitely say that. But what I'm trying to say is that Tattvadarshi is one who has the vivek to see Sat and Asat clearly,
Oh,
who
okay,
sees
okay.
the gold and the bangle, which is nothing but gold itself. So he is seeing, see, Siya Ramamay Sab Jag Jani. So that's what it is. The other example that is very common in Vedanta is the snake and rope. Now, so for those who are not familiar with it, I'm sure each one of you are very familiar with that example. So the rope is alone is appearing as snake. So the ropeness is what is causing the snake to appear. There is no snake, right? Snake has no reality. Snake has no existence, zero existence. But because of our deluded mind, we are seeing the snake. So the reality is the ropeness. The rope itself is appearing as snake. Is that clear? Is that something we need to, because since we have gone through this example, so isness is the existence aspect of it. Snake has no existence, right? Snake is non-existent entity, but the existence is coming from the rope. So the ropeness is what is causing the snake to appear. Is it making sense or no? We can drill it down further. So this jagat of appearance, the jagat of experiences, jagat of, when I say jagat means sansaric. I mean, right now we will not differentiate between the two. We will at a later time. But this whole samsara is made up of nama rupa. That means it has characteristics. Every experience is defined through certain characters, right? So even sukha dukkha is a character that is experienced, right? We experience sukh dukh because of whatever reason. But the sukh dukh is a experienced which is different from the experiencer. ये इतना clear है? So, you know what I was telling about this Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purna Mudachyate. We have heard that, we always chant it at the end of it. It's best explained through this rope snake example. So, Purnam Idam, this means this Jagat of appearances is Purna, is complete. It's so when we see a rope as snake, so snake is idam in that. So snake is complete. There is nothing that snake that we can say, oh, this is rope and this is snake. For us, the snake itself is everything. Purna. Purnamidam. What is it now? I'm trying to remember. आपका वो बंद है. अब शेखर जी शायद wanted to.
Purnamada. Purnamidam.
Purnam,
Purnamadah Purnamidam
Purnam idam.
Purnat
Right.
Purnamudachyate.
Thank you. So that which is the substratum is Purna, right? Adha is that. The thatness because of which thisness is possible. This means the world of experiences, world of changes, world of Nama Rupa. So world of Nama Rupa is also complete. World of the changeless, which is the rope, is also complete. So if I understand, if we remove the snakeness out of it, what remains is the rope, right? So that means this world, don't think of world as any illusion. Think of it as Bhagwan playing a role of flower and a tree and a mountain and a grass, everything is nothing but that Ishwar itself. The reason I'm using the word Ishwar here is because the Ishwar alone gives the reality to this sansar. That like TV is giving reality to the show. Same way, Ishwar alone is reality. This, whatever is appearing, is nothing but Ishwar in some form. Every form is Ishwar only, but we have given it different names.
In that sense, everything is divine and sacred. There is.
Everything is divine and sacred. See, that is why I told you, we don't have a problem worshipping tree or a mountain or a stone, because that divine, we are worshipping the divineness in every form. We are worshipping the satness of everything. See, that is why we have Sat Buddhi and Asat Buddhi. That part we should understand. Whatever is changing, see, जब हम दुर्गा पूजा में एक इतनी सुंदर सी दुर्गा की वो बनाते हैं मूर्ति महीनों लगा के, फिर हम एक हफ्ते तक उसके ऊपर खूब डांस करते हैं उसके आगे, वी वर्शिप दैट एंड वी चैंट एंड वी डू भजन्स एंड एवरीथिंग, एंड 9th डे वी टेक इट एंड विसर्जन कर देते हैं. चलो जी, आपका काम पूरा हुआ. दैट असत एस्पेक्ट इट गॉन बिकॉज वी वर सीइंग द सतनेस फॉर दैट टाइम while we are worshipping it. We don't cry when it is gone, right? It is celebratory. Its coming is celebratory, its going is also celebratory. Making sense?
Rajiv, what about negative things like rag, dvesh, and afflictive emotions?
Let's not worry about it right now. Let's just
Okay.
say, let's world of change. How
Okay.
we react to that world of change is our problem, right?
Sat
The
Buddhi.
rag dvesh is, that is
Asat.
asat buddhi. The rag dvesh is part of our asat buddhi,
Mm-hmm.
because we are stuck to that. This is what was happening to Arjun. So Bhagwan is saying, Arjun, understand, those that you are trying to hold on to is the asatness of them. The satness is never absent in 3 periods of time. वो पहले भी थे, आज भी हैं, कल भी रहेंगे. The satness of it. When I'm saying satness, let's not use the word atma because it gets confusing. Just say that we are just focused on the sat aspect of it. So you were there before, you are there now, you will always be there. So जैसे कौमारम यौवनम जरा, body is going through all the changes. Let that go through changes, because that's the nature of body. But dehi word, they have used deha and dehi. Bhagwan has not used the word atma here. Bhagwan used the word dehi. So the dehi means the enlivener of this changing entity. This body is a changing entity, right? The enlivener is the one that never changes. So that was dehi was there before. The dehi is there now, and dehi will continue to live forever. That was done, I think, couple of verses back. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe kamaram yavanam jara. So Dehi is continuous. Deha is going through changes. And it is not just, it is going through changes. Ki specific thing is pehle there was a like period A, it was Kumar, then it was youth, then it was adult, then it was old, then it is gone. No, it is continuously changing. Kshanam kshanam. It's not like that it is a specific time. Okay, after 15 years it is changing. No, it is continuously changing. We are just experiencing it over a long period of time. Okay.
So
So,
Rajiv, can we say that for if one has a Sat Buddhi, which one can say also Gyan Buddhi and similar, then naturally Moh and Ragdvesh will not arise, because for them to arise, you have to have the Asat Buddhi, as Shekharji was just saying. Right? For Arjun to feel his Vishad and Moho and everything, he's totally into the Asat Buddhi, no?
yes, absolutely. We are also, all of us are in Asat Buddhi only, all the time. That is why we feel all what we feel. There is no reason for us to feel that.
Okay,
एक
thank you.